I remember my husband was actually the first person that had that kind of conversation with me on the days that I was really just feeling broken and not doing well. And my first reaction would be, I'd say, I'm sorry. And he would say, stop. You're no longer allowed to apologize for this. There's no wrong way to have cancer. There's no wrong way to respond to having cancer.
Don't need you. Tell me what I can and can't do. I'm in charge of what I feel. It's just a game I play for fun, but I already.
Hi, my name is Amie. Like, comment, and subscribe to Lux Media Studios. They are awesome.
Hey everyone, welcome to Loving Your Life, Be Authentically You with me, Amie. I am so excited you are here. If you like the song at the beginning of this, please go check out True Istina. She is my daughter, TRUE_ISTINA.musicofficial, as well as just True Istina. And go see her. She's got music on YouTube, on all of the different platforms, and she's got a music video that's going to be coming out soon and some new music. So go show her some love. Also, if you guys have not checked out my other podcasts, go check them out. I had Brooke Burke on, I had Giovanna on, I had so many incredible guests on, and I would love for you to check it out. And if you have any type of questions or you want me to, interview someone, or you're like, hey, let's talk about this, please post down below and let me know because I would love to. And if you want to be a guest, message me and let's talk about it. But without further ado, I am so excited about my guest. So incredibly excited. This woman, she is literally my best friend. She became, our story is crazy how it happened, but she's an actor. She's a mother. She's a survivor of cancer. She is literally the epitome of a beautiful woman, heart and soul, inner and outer. And I am so excited to have her on. This is Kristi Lawrence, my beautiful friend. So, Kristi.
I love you. Don't get me teary before we even start. Good Lord. Hi, sweetheart. How are you doing?
Good.
So good to see you.
You too. So, do you want to tell them how we met and how all of that craziness happened?
Oh my gosh. I think I was trying to do the math, and I mean, we've known each other in some form for, it's got to be pushing 25 years, right?
Yeah.
Because
our
college. So yeah, in college. So we went to college together.
Yes.
We really didn't hang out in college, like in the same social circle. But we were in the same choir. Yeah. And I remember talking to Amie when we reconnected after college, and it was like we knew of each other, but we didn't hang out really outside of school. If I think I have all of that correctly. And that would have been quite some time ago. It's been a minute.
It has been. And I remember
Kansas.
connecting with you on MySpace. So
MySpace. Oh my goodness, MySpace. Forgot about MySpace. Yeah, that's right.
That's our age, right? Oh boy. No, we just told everybody our age. Yes, I remember because I remember you were pregnant and I saw beautiful pictures and I was like, oh my gosh. And I had just had my daughter. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you. And that's how we reconnected. And then you dropped off the face of the earth.
Yeah, I went radio silent. Yeah.
Do you want to explain what happened there?
Gosh, that's a whole show in itself. So I'll have to give like the brief version. So after I had my 2 kids, I ended up kind of, just long story short, bringing up to my OBGYN that I was worried about having the birth control pill in my bloodstream, because I knew what was in your bloodstream ended up in your breast milk, and I was nursing. And I remember just bringing it up at my 6-week appointment and said, I want to be able to be, I don't want to get pregnant again right away, but that just really worries me. Are there any other options? And she said, oh yeah, absolutely. You can have an IUD placed. And so that's this thing that they just insert, and it's localized to the uterus. And so therefore, since it's localized into the uterus, it doesn't cycle through all of your blood and all of that sort of stuff. Found out later, like, none of that actually was accurate. But when you're sitting there and you're holding your 6-week-old baby and they're telling you that that's the safest thing to do, I said, let's do it, and let's have one put in. And so I had one placed, and not right away, but after several months, I just started not feeling like myself at all. And long story short, I just deteriorated very, very quickly. Got to the point where I went legally blind in one of my eyes almost overnight. I was having a hard time even walking across the room. Sometimes I would just fall over. I would lose the ability to feel my arms from the elbows down to my fingers. And Amie knows me, but for those of you who don't, I am known as just a happy, usually the one with the jokes, person. And I was having anxiety attacks that were just taking me to the ground. And I didn't understand. They were just getting worse and worse and worse. And I didn't know what was wrong. And so I finally started, searching Dr. Google, because I'd go to the doctor and they would run tests and everything was fine. Everything looked fine. And so when I would type everything in online, they told me that, it would lead me to Mirena side effects forums. And Mirena was the name of the IUD that I had, which was a hormonal IUD. And I thought, wait, I have one of those, and that was the first time that there was just this click, right? And so then I started really following those forums, and not only did a lot of those women have the same symptoms that I had, but I specifically started following 3 of them that not only had the same symptoms, but they got them in the same order that mine came. And I thought, whoa. And
What
so
was
when I
your
was
order,
talking to
Kristy?
them,
What was
I'm
your
sorry.
order? What was your order?
I would say the first thing was noticing that my anxiety was getting worse and worse, and I knew that there was no reason for it to be. Then I started getting just almost debilitating back spasms. Then I lost my vision in my right eye overnight, to where it was really, really fuzzy. It just seemed like somebody took a glob of Vaseline and shoved it in my eye. And then that just went from there to then going to I can't feel my lower arms, walking and not being able to keep my balance and falling over. And it got really, really bad. And so when I was talking to those women, I found out that they were all diagnosed with basically silicone poisoning. And so I went into my doctor and asked him if he would do this test for elevated silicone levels in my blood. And he looked at me like I had 3 heads, and said, do you have implants? And I was like, do I look like I have implants? And he said, I remember his words were, unless you fell in a vat of silicone walking somewhere, you don't have that, then you're fine. And I said, basically, by this point, I said, look, I've been here at that point, I think 6 years. And I said, I've only been here twice, once for slicing open the back of my foot and the other time for strep throat in 6 years. I'm not the type of person who just goes to the doctor. And I've been here multiple times over these past months, like pretty much begging you to save my life, because I could just feel like it just felt like somebody was going through my body and just flipping the switches off one system at a time. And so I said, look, I'm paying for it. So please just run the test. So very begrudgingly, he ran the test, and 2 weeks later had his nurse call me because he couldn't do it. His nurse called me and said, you have very high levels of silicone, in your blood. And so I had to do a 3-week, very, very intense detox daily, where, it was everything. It was tons of supplements, the infrared saunas, everything you could think of to try to clean my blood out. And it helped a lot. But it took me about 6 years to get rid of the lion's share of all of those symptoms, to get my health back. And so it was during that time that you tried to reach back out to me, and I just disappeared. And it was not for any reason other than, I mean, my closest friends right here in Arizona would have told you that I disappeared. They couldn't even reach me. I just was doing everything I could just to function. And so that was when you couldn't get a hold of me for that. So, and then I guess you can go on to the next part where you finally were able to get a hold of me.
Yes. And then because then I saw you doing some detox, and then I thought, you know what, let me try it. And then I talked to you, and then we kind of went into business together
Yeah.
where we did, health and wellness, which was amazing. And then after that, and then we stayed friends, and we went to events together and all of that.
Yeah.
And then you were diagnosed
Yeah.
with, we're going to talk about that.
Yes. Yes. So, February of 2022, it's seemingly out of nowhere. And I'm sure everybody who's ever been diagnosed with cancer would tell you that it seems to come out of nowhere. It's not like anyone ever expects it, but I mean, it really did come out of nowhere. I had no symptoms. Um, Everything seemed fine. I had finally gotten my health back from everything that had happened with that IUD. Life was good. I had a 13-year-old son and a 15-year-old daughter at the time. So just really busy with life. And all of a sudden, it was very random. I was putting away the dishes one morning before going to the Phoenix Open with a couple of my friends. And when I was putting away a plate, I went to move it up into the counter, and I brushed it against my chest. And it was enough for me to just put my hand up to my chest. And when I did that, I felt something in my left breast. And I thought, what is that? That's not been there that I know of. And I tried to kind of just shoo it away because, believe it or not, I had just had a mammogram only 3 months earlier. I did everything right. I went and had a mammogram 3 months earlier, and I got back an all clear. Not even hey, things are looking a little weird. Maybe we should do some extra testing. I got back this looks great. See you next year. So had I followed that mammogram, and I hate to even say that sometimes because it makes me worried. I don't want women to ever feel like don't do your mammograms because they don't work. This was a very unusual thing to happen. Fluke. Do your mammograms, ladies. I'm just trying to say that in my particular case, for whatever reason, it was missed. And luckily, even though I knew that I had just gotten a clear report, I just couldn't shake it. It was just this feeling in my gut that this isn't okay. Something's wrong. And I knew the symptoms of when a lump was considered malignant versus benign. And I knew that all the symptoms or lack thereof that I had were on the bad side. And so my husband and I went to my OBGYN that next Tuesday. And so I felt it on a Friday. They got me in on Tuesday. She didn't like it. She sent me in for a biopsy on Wednesday. They didn't like it. Sent me from the biopsy to an ultrasound on Thursday. And I got a phone call that I had aggressive large scale tumor breast cancer. And it was out of nowhere. I don't have breast cancer on either side of my family. I'm not BRCA positive. I had none of the genetic predispositions or DNA issues that can kind of predispose you to cancer. Lifestyle issues that can make your chances more likely, smoking, obesity, things like that didn't fit. So on paper, I was a less than 7% chance of ever getting cancer in my lifetime. And not only did I get it, I got it about 20 to 25 years earlier than most women get it. Most women get it about 65 to 70, and I was 45. And it just, at the end of the day, it's 1 in 8 women right now. And so as hard as that was, I had to just accept that I drew the short straw, I guess. Yeah.
Believing Before Seeing, a new bestseller by Candace Barr. Order your copy today.
I remember when you were going to get your testing and I was just praying because I was like, no, 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 there's nothing going on. And then you told me, and
Yeah.
my heart sunk for you. And I was just like, I wish I could just take it away from her. Like, I just felt so bad for you. And to see you go through everything. Go check out her Facebook page. It's just Kristi Lawrence, right? On Facebook.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Kristi Lawrence, I walked through it, and I also did a Caring Bridge journal, because it was really kind of before, I can't say it was before TikTok. I mean, people were doing TikTok in 2022. I really wasn't. So, but I've always been a writer and a journaler. It helps me process through things. And so that was how I coped. And then I was very honest, with the people who were following along, on my social media platforms, that, hey, I'm going to walk through this, and it's going to be transparent. I'm going to be very transparent about this journey, which means it's going to be the good, the bad, and the ugly. So if you don't want to see that, it's okay. And that's totally fine. But it was also a kind of therapeutic for me. And writing's always been a therapy for me. At the time, I didn't do anything on or on TikTok, because number one, I just wasn't really active there. But I was also so shell shocked for months, that I just didn't know really how to talk about it. I didn't know if I would break down. I didn't know, it was just this blur where I did feel all the hard things. That I was sad and I was angry and I was confused and I was scared out of my mind, but I was also oddly numb, which I know that. I know that feeling. And this was before your diagnosis. And so I dealt with it how I knew how at the time. And I'm actually getting ready to start journaling what happened with my whole journey and recovery, because I'm not done. I still have some surgeries left. I have 2 surgeries I'm doing in June, just next month. So, but I am starting that journey on TikTok now that enough time has passed that I know that I can talk about it. I can educate, things like that. I'm going to start that next week. I don't know if you want to put that on the screen, but my handle there is just Kristi Marie AZ. But I'm actually starting that next week. So this is good timing for that. But at the time, yeah, writing was kind of my therapy through it, and trying to kind of process all of that and piece it all together and keep my wits about me.
Yeah. And I remember reading all of that too, because it put me into your shoes and what was going on. And at the time, of course, I wasn't diagnosed yet. And then when I was diagnosed, I'm just like,
Which was only 2 to 3 months later, right? It was very close afterwards. I think I was in February and you were May?
May.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember being diagnosed, and then I was going through all these feelings. And for you to put that out there, I was like, okay, this is normal for me to go through. And even sometimes I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody, because literally sometimes you do feel like that. It's up and down. This cancer journey is not easy. And we have to try to keep our wits about us, but it isn't up and down. Numbers go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. It's kind of what happens. And your thing, you were in all over the motions, and I'm like always trying to keep the positive. Like, that's just me. I do that. But there are times that, I can talk to you about it and be like, hey, this is what I'm feeling. And is this normal? Because,
Yeah.
I think that there's so much that we go through that we don't know how to process it. And when you get diagnosed with something so dire, it's like, okay, well, then I'm just going to die. Like, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing my doctor said was, live your life between treatments. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm like, all right, living my life between treatments. Let's do it. And that's how I live my life now. but there's always those up and downs. And you really showed that in your post and who you are as a person, and so transparent. Like everything is in there. So if you go to her page and look it up, go to her TikTok, because honestly, you're going to get real. Plus, you're so funny. Like, seriously, you're a comedian.
Well, so a little fun fact about me is I do use a lot of humor in a lot of posts. And so, which probably sounds very strange, because it's like, how can you use humor when you have a cancer diagnosis? Do I feel funny every day? Absolutely not. But in my posts, yeah, you'll see everything. You'll see the ups and you'll see the downs, simply because at the beginning of all of it, I promised the people who were following my journey that I was going to be completely transparent. Um, and I wanted to do that mindfully, so that they knew, if this is too much or too hard for you to see the bad things, then please keep scrolling. But some people need, whether it's a cancer journey or just something that they're going through that's hard. One of the things that I learned, and I remember my husband was actually the first person that had that kind of conversation with me on the days that I was really just feeling broken and not doing well. And my first reaction would be, I'd say, I'm sorry. And he would say, stop. You're no longer allowed to apologize for this. There's no wrong way to have cancer. There's no wrong way to respond to having cancer, as long as you're honoring, your body, and you're honoring others. Like, if you have to, be positive all the time because that's what makes you feel better, then that's what you need to do. If you need to be honest about the fact that some days you're feeling strong and you're like, I'm gonna, crush this cancer, and then the next day you're snot crying in the fetal position, that's okay too. If you need to scream in a pillow and all of that, like, that's also okay. And so I kind of wanted to be able to show that side, because I think that people out there who are dealing with stuff like this, or any just really dire situation in their life, different people need different things, right? Like, some people, when they're going through a horrible situation like this, they might need an Amie Yaniak, right? They might need somebody, because they're like, I don't want to hear the bad. I just only want to hear, where can I find happiness and joy in my life in spite of this right now? And that's what they need to be able to be okay. And that's fantastic. And for your viewers out there, let me just say right now, this part of Amie is genuine. Like, it's insane. I've never known anyone like Amie who can have all of these things happen, and not just cancer. Like, Amie and I have been friends for a long time, and she's been through some stuff. And the fact that this girl stays so like, is that all good? Yeah, it's like a superpower, and it's amazing. And I just want you guys to know that it's genuine. She's genuinely like that all the time. And for me, I have days like that, and I have days where I feel like Wonder Woman and I'm going to kill this thing. And then I'll have days where I can crack jokes. I think you'll see posts in there, one during chemo where I'm looking all bashed up because my hair is falling out and all this stuff, and I had toilet paper shoved in each of my nostrils. And I'm just looking at the camera because I didn't realize that you also lose the hair in your nose. No one tells you that. And so even when you're healthy, like, you're constantly wiping your nose because snot's running out your nose all the time, And so I would make a post that's joking about this, like, really, because I just might as well laugh about it, type of thing, right? And then with the bad parts, I also wanted to show that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to have a day where you feel broken and you feel sad and you feel angry. Just don't live there. Right. And so that's what I wanted people to see, that I might be telling you that last night I had a massive anxiety attack where I was almost vomiting because of fear. And then the next day I'm making jokes about my nose hair being gone, right? Because it is this complete up and down. And that's okay. Because some people want to see the positive all the time. That's what they need. For me, when I got it, I'm the type that when I would find out how a test looked, I'd go online immediately and Google it and look at all the medical journals and everything so I could learn everything I could about it, try to get my doctor in it real quick, right? So that I knew what I was fighting. And I remembered that once I had my double mastectomy done, and they did get the cancer that they knew about with the clear margins. And I would have people say, when I would have a bad day, I would sometimes have people say, you just need to go home and try not to think about it. Be grateful. And I'm not going to lie. Like, I would smile because I would think, I know everyone that I talk to has my best interest at heart. Right. And they love me and they don't know what to say either. But there was also a part of me that's like, oh, just go home and not think about it. I'm going, wow, why didn't I think of that? I'll just get right on that, right? Like, I'll just get right on that with a disease that has no cure. I wish I would have thought of that sooner, And, I just kind of learned that the way I want to respond to people is it's okay to not be okay. And so when people would say things like, just go home and you just need to be grateful for the fact that you're still here, that would make me feel bad because I would feel like for a minute, like, oh, great. Now I'm not even recovering right. I'm doing this part wrong. Like, I'm not being grateful. I'm not acting grateful enough. Well, of course I'm grateful, right? Doesn't mean I'm not going to have days where all of a sudden it's going to hit me and I'm going to be terrified. The week before I was diagnosed, my biggest worry was where my son was going to go to middle school. 4 days later, I was begging God that I was still going to be around to watch him graduate from that school. And it doesn't just shut off, as you know, that doesn't just turn off. And I wanted to know that the people that wanted to go out and see the journey, even the ugly parts, and there's a lot of them where cancer is involved, but then being able to say, I saw her stand back up and I saw her take another step forward. Yes. That was my goal in that. And I feel like I wouldn't do anything differently,
That's what you did, I think, in every post. Like you would say the real, but then again, you would make it funny, or you would just be like the comedy of it. And it was like, wow, how can cancer have comedy? But really, there were some things, and you just were just you. And yes, there were times that, it was hard. And then there were times, but you always did say, I'm getting back up. I'm making it. I'm stronger. I can do this. I can do this. And that would always be at the end. You would always like put that there. You don't need to worry. I got this. I got this. Yeah. And to me, that was strength. And so when I was diagnosed, I was like, wait, so this is what she's doing. I know I can do it too. And you gave me that inspiration to go, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then for us together in it, like we understand each other so much because we both have it. Yeah. And so it's an understanding.
And it's okay to not be okay. And it's also okay to only show the positive. Like, that's your thing. And it's so beautiful. And my thing is like, it was you want transparency? Get ready, strap in, because I'll show you some transparency, And because again, like you said, that's me. Yes. Ever since I was a little kid, I've used humor as like a self-defense mechanism for as long as I can remember. I remember thinking that as a kid when that aha moment hit that, hey, if they're laughing with you, they're not laughing at you. And I carried it. It was very much a self-defense mechanism for me in my life. And so even though I had cancer, I'm still Kristy. And yeah. So there were some days where I was feeling stronger, where it was still like I could poke humor at just the ridiculousness of it all. And like, can you believe this is happening right now? Because I didn't want to marinate in just sitting there and saying, how is it my turn again? This isn't fair, And so I would have those days. I would be honest about those days. And then, and like I said, you don't live there, and you just stand up and you take another step forward. And I hope that everybody knows that about whatever it is that they're going on in their life. Like it's all right to be weak sometimes, because there's a strength in just getting back up.
Exactly.
And no one knows that more than the two of us, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That's the key. The key is to get back up. The key is do not live in it. That's
Yeah.
the key. And so through transparency, you were getting back up. For me, yes, it's happiness, it's gratefulness, it's all this happy, great stuff. And then I get back up. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just what it is. And in life, in anything, if we can keep doing that, that's when beautiful things start happening. That's when life opens up. That's when we meet people. That's when all of the blessings start flowing. Is
100%.
we can just be and step into it and step into our greatness and step into our positivity and step into that and not live there, which I think
Yeah.
is
And like as well as I do, there's cancer is not, it's not awesome. I'll tell you that, right?
No,
It's not
no.
always this wonderful,
No.
great thing, and there is definitely a place for, there are a lot of people that need the Amies out there that are just like, all I want, I just need positivity, and I need that. And you are such a bright, beautiful light in that, and such a gift to so many. And I hope that you know that, and for me, I just wanted to make sure that I know that there's also people out there who, if they're struggling and they're having a day where they can't get out of bed because they're crying so hard, or they're having anxiety attacks or whatever, and all they see online is that it's great and positive, what are they going to think? Then they might think, oh, then I'm not strong enough because I'm not like that all the time. I'm doing this wrong. So it's important to also be able to find your people, find your, strength and your tribe out there on, what is it that you need to see and be a part of to feel better, even if it's just for that day, and I'm proud of that. And you should be proud of that. And, the fact that we're still fighting and we're still just sitting here like, we got this. That's the one thing that we've never doubted, was that, like, I'm okay, and I said that in some of my posts, that I know I'm going to be okay, but I'm just not right now.
Mhm.
And that's okay too.
I love that. I love that. Well, we are out of time, but I have to have you back, Kristy, because it's amazing.
Anytime.
Please go check her out on her TikTok, on her Facebook, everywhere. We will have the links down there below. And I am so excited for you guys to see the next episode. This will be out too. So on Wednesdays, please go see it. It's amazing. Every Wednesday's new episodes. But I am so grateful that you were a part of this. And I love you so much.
Gosh, I love you too, girl, so much.
I do. And you are so special to me. So
Love you,
please
girl.
reach out, and you guys have a beautiful, beautiful, blessed day. Bye, guys.
Don't need you. Tell me what I can and can't do. I'm in charge of what I feel. It's just a game I play for